All right, so this is Ryan. This is Bobby. And Ryan has a question.
Well, and Bob, we should make clear, is a psychic and a medium.
And a medium.
Okay. So,
Ready?
Yes.
So your dad is standing behind you. He's on your left side because that's where the men always stand. He is very, very proud of you, how you've handled all of the situations and the tough decisions, especially over the last, he's saying it's 2 months, but that might not be right. It might be 2 years, but I think it's 2 months. And that he wants you to know that you're doing all of the right things and that he wouldn't have done anything different than what you're doing. So any doubt you had about like how you were handling things or what you were doing, just know that you're exactly on the right path. And he really wants you to use whatever he left for you to bring happiness and joy to you, not to just put it in the bank and like save it. He wants you to spend some of it and enjoy it because he thinks that you should be able to use his abundance or the way he lived his life to make your life just as happy as his was, even up to the very end. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
I hate when that happens.
So it's there is a little bit of emotion there that goes along with it. I'm not gonna lie, because it has been, the last couple of months. My dad died. My dad died December 11th. So, but it's been more.
Oh, you're right. It's
March, but it's like he died, and then there was the holidays, and then it was after the first of the year that we really, in earnest, started the move to California. So, with that in mind, and I'm going to be very vague,
all right, on purpose,
because I know sometimes when people aren't legit psychics like you, they take advantage. People say too much, and then they go on.
I tell people if you start telling me stuff, as soon as I hear something, I'm going to jump in. So I cut people off.
Okay, see, that's the difference between a legit psychic and one of these flim-flam artists.
Flim-flam artists. Yeah.
So with flim-flam, I'm a big fan of the flim-flam. We talk about Donald Trump all the time. I've referred to him as a flim-flam artist and a modern day P.T. Barnum is what he is to me. But anyway, we're sidetracking here. So with that in mind, I have said all along that I wanted to, do just this. I'm doing stuff right now, like this trip for spring training. And in a few weeks, God willing, is my passport going to show up on time?
Yes.
It is going to show up on time. Thank God. I'm going to Italy and Ireland, which are the two motherlands for our family.
And they're telling me you're supposed to throw like caution to the wind and step outside your comfort zone while you're there, because you're never going to do anything super duper crazy, but you should do stuff that you would have not normally done, whatever that means.
Well, and that's the whole point of this trip. Like, these are things I should have done when I was in my 20s. And didn't do them, and before I get to be too old to do them, I'm trying to take advantage, and then eventually I'll settle back down to work. Now, we talked about our careers in broadcasting. John and I were both laid off in late October, early November from our job in Seattle.
Your layoff was like a blessing in disguise because it put you in places or into situations that you would have never been in and that you're going to do better at. John's was more like John's contract, which is like his agreement with the universe, was for part of this struggle. So there's something about the struggle that he's had up to now that has taught him a lesson of some sort. But now that the struggle's kind of over and he's doing something that he really loves to do, where he's helping people in a bigger and better way, that's going to make him feel more comfortable with himself and other things. He's very, John is very successful, but sometimes he doesn't look he doesn't look at it as being successful. No, he has been very successful, but a lot of it was he had the bar set really high, and that had to do with somebody else's expectations, not his own. I don't know if that even makes any sense.
Your dad's, maybe?
It's somebody else.
Your dad's
Does that make any
expectations
sense?
for you?
No.
But John's much more successful than he gives himself credit for.
Amen to that.
There's a reason,
sense, like I told you,
it does.
Bob, I told you, when that job opened up in Seattle, my first call was to John, and not because he's a dickhead who doesn't know what he's doing.
Well,
you know? Well,
no,
yeah, but that's beside the point. Now,
Hey now.
So, John has talked about he's making this move. So he's doing a little bit of a reinvention here into a different field. And I
feel, one more thing on that, I feel like he thought about that 10 years ago, but really couldn't figure out what that would look like. But now he knows what it looks like, and he's going to be able to step into it, and it's going to be a lot easier than he thinks, and that by 2025, it's going to be really going good. This year, this is kind of like the build-up year, but by October, September, it'll be going really good.
Okay. So I'm considering, I mean, I would still love to be involved in radio and news and that sort of thing, but I'm also considering now at this point at my age, maybe a reinvention so that the
Have you
struggle.
thought about being a professor or a teacher? That's what I heard, like a teacher or professor.
I have thought about that, but my whole, I've come up with several different ideas, and I've also had one just in the past few days that I feel like is a pretty good one because I'm taking a measured, I want to take a measured approach to it. That's all I'm going to say, Bob.
So the one that in the last 2 or 3 days, they're telling me that is the right one for you to do, and the measured approach is because that's how you're you do everything. So when they said something about when you're in Italy or whatever to go forward and step outside your comfort zone, the measured approach in this case is you could do it faster than that or turn the heat up and you'll be just as successful. But the reason you're doing it measured is you're kind of waiting to make sure that every time you get to a stoplight that the light turns green instead of just blasting through the light, if that makes any sense. But I do feel like it's the right thing. It's gonna work out better than you thought because the other ideas don't have as much they're using the word sex, as much oomph in them as this current idea you just got.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I feel like I want to take a measured approach is, there's leveraging of some of the things that my folks left behind in order to make this work.
Well, now your mom just popped up here. She's nodding her head going, yes, 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 go ahead and do it.
Well, now that my mom's here,
because mom is on the right and dad is always on the left.
why is that?
I don't know, but that's how I was taught or shown how to do mediumship, that the male energy is the left and the female energy is on the right. And then the other thing it looks like rows of seats. So they're both standing in front of the row that would be parents. So there's a gap, and then there's parents, and then grandparents and great-grandparents. And if there's something closer to you that's in that gap or right up close to you, that's like a brother or a sister or a close friend that's also following around. But I just see your parents right there.
Okay. You don't happen to see any grandparents floating around back there?
On this side, so it'd be your mom's parents. Your mom, but grandparents on your mom's parents. They're both here, especially the grandmother. Were you close with her? Your mom's mom.
I was.
Yeah, her. She's there. Anybody over there? I don't see anybody on your dad's side.
I'm surprised because I was actually close with both of my grandmothers.
Really?
So, well, I mean, she might be busy. She liked to dance a lot, so she's probably, out at the local dance there in, Heaven Central or wherever it is. Yeah, so it would be so typical of my grandmother to be dancing, 38 hours a day in the afterlife. Would not surprise me a bit.
That's
So
funny.
I want to back you up to my mom. I miss both of my folks terribly. She's here. She's being supportive. Does she have anything else to say?
Yeah, do you see hummingbirds?
All the time.
That's your mom. She just showed me a hummingbird. That's your mom. That's how you know she's around you. Your dad, what did you over there? He looks like a crow, like a black bird, but your mom is definitely hummingbirds. He also might be a butterfly, like an orange or yellowish butterfly, orange. You see orange butterflies of some sort, but mom is definitely the hummingbird.
Okay, that's funny because my mom has had and still has, because I still have them, hummingbird feeders at the house, and it was.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, so it's funny that she's involved with the hummingbird because I kid you not, Bob. I sit out in the back in the morning and I drink my coffee and I really.
Hummingbird comes up to you?
Well, there's a hummingbird. The feeder is probably about 10 feet away from me to my right from where I sit, and it comes and it pokes away and takes a drink and that sort of thing. But the other day, one came up and got really close, almost right over my head.
That's her, yeah. I say that to people a lot, yeah.
And I need to say,
Yeah, you're good.
he said, Bob promised he was going to make me cry, and he's doing a good job of it.
That's how I know that. See, to me, the best part is the making the people cry, because then I know they got the message. They got the message they needed to hear, and they got that sense of relief or whatever it is, whatever reason they came to see me. It's like the answer to the question.
I really just want to know that my parents are okay.
They are, and they're around you like all the time. And they just can't believe how successful you're being, and they're just so proud of you, and they didn't have the chance to tell you as much as they really wanted to, especially over the last 10 years. And they saw how much you struggled to do things right for the kids or your wife or whatever that was, and they were just so proud of you, but they were caught up in their own shit, and they just didn't have time to tell you. But as soon as the first one passed away, and then you said the second one passed away really close, so full disclosure, you told me that. But they both saying that was kind of their plan, that they were never going to be apart, because all the time they always end up marrying each other.
Now, when you say they always end up marrying each other, we talking past lives too?
Yeah, past lives, yeah.
So we're all in it too, because I'm also a believer in the past lives thing too.
And you've always been like the son, or sometimes you're your dad's brother. This lifetime you're the son, the next one you'll probably be his brother.
Interesting.
That makes any sense.
So, let me throw another one out there. My dad had one sibling.
Okay.
That's
It's a girl. Is it a daughter or girl? 50-50 shot on
you
that
got
one.
a 50-50 shot, and that's fair because I gave you nothing.
Zero. I heard it was a
he
girl,
had
though.
he had a brother.
You had a brother?
Although, for all I know, he could have been, female in another life.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I heard it was a girl. Well, there's a sibling. I don't. Did they? I feel like they didn't ever really connect in a way. But the brother was more, like either more spiritual or more something, like a different vibration than your dad, and that your dad just really couldn't ever like figure that out or like accept it in some way. That makes sense.
That is, Bob. I could do this all night because you keep nailing it. So.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I read with my eyes closed so I can concentrate over it, but also my favorite thing is the opening my eyes and seeing the look of shock on people's faces. And that way you know I'm not reading it off you, because I read with my eyes closed.
That's great.
Even when we did that for Graham, out of habit, I just closed my eyes.
That's fantastic. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, here's how we know we're serious here.
Yeah.
So, my dad's brother, Mike, was 11 years younger. And they were close, but they were, certainly a distance in age. And Mike was killed in Vietnam in 1971, right 6 weeks before I was born.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's just, it's funny that you should throw that, because my dad was always, good with the money, hard-working, clean living, and Mike was kind of a grease monkey and did things differently. My dad tells a story one time about somebody stole a car radio out of his car. He went and broke into the guy's car and stole it back. This is the kind of thing we're dealing with. So, bottom line, everybody that has that you've seen that's gone before me is okay.
Everybody's okay.
Happy together.
Hummingbird is going to spend more time with you now because you're going to talk to it.
I talked to it already.
Yeah. And now you'll talk to it more because it knows that you know.
Okay. All right. Bob, thanks for
My pleasure.
Thanks for getting me.
You're my pleasure.